This is the new Ram RHO, and it's Ram's newest wide-bodied Bilstein-sprung 35-inch tired full-fledged assault against the entire truck market, and more specifically, Ford's hugely popular Raptor. Okay, let's clear some things up real quick. This is not a replacement for the TRX. A TRX replacement has been teased, but more on that later. It's powered by the high-output version of the new twin-turbo Hurricane Inline 6, and yes, it makes more power and costs nearly 10 grand less than the current Raptor, which, folks, trust me, I know you're all sad about the loss of the Hemi V8. I am too, and you might not want that Hurricane 6, but the truth is, this new RHO version of the 1500 is the off-road pickup the world really needs. Here's the thing, the outgoing TRX is amazing. Easily one of my favorite trucks of all time. But at its starting MSRP of over $98,000, which is really more like 130 grand after a few options and dealer markups, Ram has never had a product that truly directly competed with the game-changing formula Ford cooked up with their current Raptor. The new RHO, with the starting price just shy of $72,000, retains the beefed-up frame, long travel adaptive Bilstein dampers, and those killer wide-body looks we got on the TRX, plus gets a whole mess of upgrades that are pulled through with all 2025 model year Ram trucks. Stuff like a new standard 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, and a newly available 14.5-inch vertically oriented touchscreen running Stellantis' actually pretty excellent Uconnect 5. Oh, and because the world is still sorta screen obsessed at the moment, there's also a 10.3-inch touchscreen that faces the front seat passenger. You get all that plus a drivetrain that churns out 100 horsepower more than its closest competitor, for almost 10 grand less than what the Raptor will run you. Not to mention 0 to 60 times that blow the competition out of the water. And highway fuel economy estimates that beat the hybrid Tundra TRD Pro. If I was Ford or any other truck maker right now, I'd be a little concerned.
Oh, shiver my timbers!
Let's talk drivetrain. Like we said, the RHO gets an all-new high-output version of the twin-turbocharged 3-liter Hurricane Inline 6. It makes 540 horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque. For those of you who are paying attention, that's 162 horses and 129 pound-feet less than the TRX. But it's 90 more horsepower and 10 more pound-feet of twist than that 3.5-liter V6 you get in the F-150 Raptor. And guys, if you're gonna have 6 cylinders, an inline configuration is the best. I mean, think back to all the best 6-pot engines of all time. Toyota 2JZ, Nissan RB26, a slew of excellent engines from BMW. They're smoother, they're easier to work on, and they're typically less complicated and more reliable than their V6 counterparts. The new high-output Hurricane uses a high-flow intake, complete with a high-capacity radial air filter that's designed to be easy to clean on the trail, that feeds a pair of Garrett GT 2054 twin-scroll turbochargers. And because it makes a whopping 26 pounds of boosted stock tune, it's got forged internals, air-to-water intercooling, and a higher-flowing oil pump than you get with the standard output version. Power is fed through an 8-speed automatic transmission, and even though Ram calls it Torque Flight, it's really a specially tuned and built-in-house licensed version of the industry's best gearbox, the ZF-8HP. Dual clutch transmissions were the name of the game some 5 or so years ago, but this box holds more power, shifts basically just as fast, and is more reliable than most DCTs. And you're gonna want a beefy transmission because I predict tuning these things to make massive numbers is gonna be way too easy. Power reaches the ground through a Borg-Warner 4813 full-time active transfer case that Ram says features upgraded internals for improved strength and durability. The entire drivetrain is 150 pounds lighter than that on the TRX, which, according to Ram, pays dividends in the truck's reflexes and agility. You still get low-range capability, which is a huge plus, and while there has been no mention of front locking capability, you do get an electronic locker out the back, complete with fully floating axle shafts out of the Dana 60 rear end. Speaking of out the back, you get a power-operated tailgate and massive 5-inch exhaust tips that are connected to the, and I quote, Sport Tune low-restriction true dual exhaust system that hide the impressive 5-link rear suspension, which affords rear suspension travel of up to 14 inches. Thanks to the standard 2-inch lift and standard 35-inch tires wrapped around 18-inch beadlock capable wheels, ground clearance comes in at 11.8 inches at its lowest point. Approach angle is 31 degrees, departure angle is 25.2 degrees, and you've got a breakover angle of 21.8. And if you don't know what any of that means, just know this thing's gonna be pretty capable off-road. Around the front, you've got the updated front fascia and headlights standard across all 2025 1500s, but the RHO gets the signature flow-through Ram logo. Front suspension is fully independent and utilizes forged upper and lower control arms. And speaking of suspension, we can't really move on without talking about these shocks. These are Bilstein Black Hawk E2 adaptive performance shocks that use dual electronic proportioning valves that allow for independent real-time control over compression and damping forces. It's all run by Ram's proprietary active terrain dynamic system. These shocks are badass, folks. We're talking nitrogen-filled remote reservoirs, a proprietary jounce cutoff system which uses secondary compression valve pistons and telescoping compression stops, and US military spec anodizing. What that all means is, ride comfort, body, roll control, and handling will be expertly balanced for both on-road performance and off-road capability. And the key takeaway here is that all those suspension and off-road specs match exactly that of the Ram TRX. It's got beefy oversized tow hooks front and rear, skid plates all around to protect vital components underneath, and you can choose between optional full-length rock rails or traditional powder-coated aluminum running boards. Of course, you get those signature LED red and orange marker lamps, but that's not actually just for looks. Those are a legal requirement for vehicles this wide. It's a full 8 inches wider than anything else in Ram's lineup, and that's thanks to the composite fender flares required to accommodate its full 6-inch increase in track width. At 88 inches wide, it's 1.4 inches wider than the F-150 Raptor, which doesn't sound like much, but every inch counts. On that bombshell, let's move on to the interior. In my opinion, the interior in the Ram stands a bit above what you get from Ford, Chevy, and Toyota. That's true of all their trucks, and things are no different here with the RHO. The interior design team stuck to the mantra, off-roading doesn't have to be rough. Premium 12-way power adjustable leather heated and ventilated front seats with a new massage function are standard up front. And don't think rear seat passengers get left out. You've got heat and ventilation functions on the rear bench as well. There's even a reclining rear seat option, so you can lounge around while blasting down the trail. We already touched on the infotainment system, but the audio package on offer here is worth a mention. It's a 900-watt, 19-speaker Harman Kardon setup that I'm willing to bet sounds even better than it looks. The rest of the interior is full of metal or carbon fiber accents depending on the trim you buy, soft touch materials, leather, and pretty much everything seems to be extremely well thought out. There's the available class-exclusive passenger screen, which, by the way, is only visible to the passenger and comes with an HDMI plug so you can connect your phone or tablet or laptop and use it as a sort of second monitor. That way your passenger can catch up on Rick and Morty while you're tearing through the desert. Morty! There's class-exclusive dual wireless charging, and just like we got on the TRX, we've got a whole suite of driving modes, including a dedicated launch mode button and several performance pages. If you're familiar at all with recent Ram or Dodge infotainment systems, you should kinda know what to expect here. Notably, there's a badge on the center console which includes your RHO's horsepower figure, VIN number, and maybe most interestingly, a drawing of a rhinoceros. Ram has not officially explained what exactly RHO stands for. Some think it's Ram High Output or Rebel High Output, but know this, internally, the truck was codenamed Rhino, and maybe RHO is a sort of abbreviation of that. As for safety systems, there's an available full-color heads-up display that can be stretched to 10 inches and displays several content areas at once, including a digital tachometer, lane departure, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control information, turn-by-turn navigation, current speed, current gear, and speed limit, which is all relatively standard. What's not so standard is the fact that this truck can be optioned with what Ram calls hands-free driving assist, the company's name for level 2+ automated driving capability. It's capable of hands-off driving and lane centering on approved roadways, predictably slowing the vehicle to make tight curves, automatically resuming control after any sort of driver override, and verifying that the driver is paying attention to the road. That's a system the current F-150 Raptor doesn't offer, and neither do the more off-road focused pickups from Chevrolet. Now, to get it, you've got to upgrade to the RHO Level 1 equipment group, which includes a lot of stuff. And even though it costs basically 10 grand, when you compare it apples to apples against, say, the Raptor, you're getting huge value for your dollar here. Ram has all but officially announced an actual replacement for the TRX. Sort of. In the official RHO release video, at roughly 58 seconds into the clip, there are a pair of dirt bikes. One of them has the number 540 on the fairing, but the other was left completely blank. According to Jeff Summers, who is Ram's head of advertising, that was actually a hidden Easter egg. The 540 is a reference to the RHO's power rating, but the bike without a number represents somewhat of a placeholder for what Summers refers to as Ram's next high horsepower vehicle with 3 letters. So here's the thing, it would make sense to bring back the range-topping TRX, and while the V8 is gone, they built the last one in December of last year, there is a more powerful version of the Hurricane in crate form that is alleged to make up to the mid-1000 horsepower level. Now, those engines are being developed for competition use, but I believe it's possible we could see an even higher performing version of the Hurricane used in a road legal pickup. Or maybe they'll use some of their battery electric tech they've been working on for the Ram REV and Charger and make a hybrid. Or maybe even just make a fully electric ultra high performance truck. Or maybe, and hear me out here, a 3-lettered high performance truck doesn't necessarily mean it'll be aimed at the off-road audience at all. After all, this is the company that brought us trucks like the Little Red Express in the 70s and the Viper-powered Ram SRT-10 in the early 2000s. Maybe Ram has a new muscle truck planned. Who knows? What I think I know is that while the batshit crazy Hellcat-powered TRX is gone, I truly believe the new RHO is the truck that Ram badly needed to bolster their lineup and take the fight straight to Ford's front doors. But I want to know what you guys think. Would you rather buy a used TRX or plop down the cash for a brand new RHO? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, get subscribed and stay tuned because we're gonna drive this thing and we can't wait to bring you guys along for the ride. In the meantime, go check out some of our other content right over here. My name's Trav, and I'll see you all next week.